Yeah, there we go.
I feel sorry for Cynthia because I've done this a couple of times here.
Oops, sorry.
I'm back. I'm off for a second, so.
I did that one. I wanted to bring these because these are kind of an intermediate size. These are a little bit heavier. I'm not afraid of color. And I like the sparkles. Yeah, sparkles are fun. I saw the yarn. I thought, oh, that looks fun. And this is. I also want to bring this one because this is the style heel we're going to do. This is what I call a simple heel, and you can see it in this striped thing.
Yep.
Okay. See that? So that's a simple heel, as opposed to. Let me just think if I have one. Yes. I'm looking for something that you can see a little more of a stripe. A more complicated heel, and this is, you can see, I picked this one because you can see where it comes together, maybe a bit better in another color. Yeah, this one's easier to see. You can see that it's mitered.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see it.
Close up. Got it.
And that's a heel called I kid you not, fish lips kiss heel that I figured we could get to next time. It is harder.
Okay.
It's a little bit neater. It's a variation on a German short row. If that means anything to anybody.
I've done this.
Yeah.
I have to relearn it every time. But
Right. But I like the fish lips kiss because it makes it nice smooth. You can see how smooth that is in this one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By the way, the yarn in this is a fun yarn called Zarball Crazy because it is. No, I could make 3 socks out of this for me, and no two are ever the same because there is no pattern.
Okay.
On that one, you asked about the pattern. These are just fun, but I do want to show off the different heel type. But
Do you
this
think
one,
one heel is more comfortable than the other?
for me, I like the
Fish lips?
The fish lips. I have very high arches, so I need a deep heel. Somebody with flatter feet might prefer one like this, and that's one of those things, you just kind of maybe have to make a couple pairs of socks and see what you like, or what your recipient likes. But again, if it's a recipient who you're not just sending them off one pair of socks, you're going to talk to them again.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you have to wear these with a little bit bigger shoe size? Or do they, are they
Heavy
true?
one. This one's pretty. This and the other ones I had, they're fairly heavy.
So let's say,
They're more of a boot sock.
so let's say if you wear a 6.5 shoe
Yeah.
and you knit the socks, do you need a 7 shoe or can you usually?
This is my normal size shoe and my
Okay.
normal size sock.
Okay, good.
Because this is a fine yarn.
Yeah, okay,
Something that's a heavier yarn. This was a little bit intermediate. The other was definitely heavier.
okay,
Definitely more of a boot sock.
okay.
And I always get my boots a size bigger than my shoes. I'm kind of thinking most Northerners do that, right? Because I often will wear 2 pairs of socks when I was back in the day buying socks. But that's why I wanted to pick these.
You wore 2 pairs of socks?
I used to wear 2 pairs of socks,
Because
20
you
years
were
ago.
where it was really cold, or?
because it's cold here, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm a California girl.
Yeah, so, okay, that
From,
makes
I
sense.
might say, Pasadena area,
Oh,
California, and I'm very sad that
Do you have any
Eaton
family
Canyon.
there or friends?
I no longer have family there, but yeah, no,
Wow.
I spent much of my youth hiking and horseback riding in Eaton Canyon. which
Oh,
no
that's
longer-
too bad.
But it burned once when I was a child too. It does burn.
Yeah.
It is chaparral. So anyway, so this one I brought also because I had another skein to show you of it. This is. But again,
That's
you can
pretty.
see the shine in it. But you can also see, if you kind of start counting, you can see the striping pattern. And I also, so this, I brought also because I made a little sample and put it on 2s. So a little bit smaller
Oh,
needle,
okay.
a little bit finer. I want you to be able to kind of feel it and mess with it. But this oops, I got it kind of twisted in there. Again, this is just a little piece of sample. And you'll feel, again, these have been washed and worn many times, but you'll see what it's like when it first comes off the needle on this. It's not quite as tight. All yarn tightens up a little when you wash it.
And then loosens when you wear them?
Mostly not.
Okay.
Cotton does.
Yeah.
If it's got, I never go above 25% polyamide for the blends. But again, and these are, the needles in this case are actually Gail's favorites, Jogu's, and they're 2s, but I'm gonna put these over there. Here's 1s.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, they're tiny. I only had 1s sitting around that I can make a sample on bamboo. I know there are people that really like bamboo.
I do, yeah.
And so again, that's something to try. A very fine yarn.
What do they call that? Not sock yarn.
Oh, it's definitely sock yarn.
Oh.
It's
Just finer than
it's
others.
just finer, yeah. So again, sock yarns can be 3 2s 1s if that's.
Okay.
I mean, I've certainly seen sock yarns that were essentially DKs.
Yeah.
They're going to make a heavy sock.
Yeah.
And again, you have to adjust your stitches and all of that to deal with that. So, but that's just again, if people would find that interesting, I have that there. What else do I want to? Oh, so and I just wanted to demonstrate to illustrate. I didn't have. Oh, I know why I didn't have the 1s. I was just going to show you. So one of the things I do, and the reason I didn't have any extra 1s sitting around, is because I normally carry in my purse so that when I'm bored, waiting, as we often are. So here's also some 1s on it. This is, again, a 3rd sock on a pair that I'm already wearing. Not today. But, so it's just easy to have. And the other reason I wanted to mention this one has a shorter thing only because I'm doing a single sock. You could do 2 socks at a time. I don't have any set up to do that. I think there are reasons to do it. In some cases, like you get to, if you're someone who has procrastination issues or impatience issues, getting 2 socks done at the same time is probably worth doing. Again, you need a longer thing, so you put them side by side. I tend not to do it, partly because I'm often matching and fussing and things like that, but also because I'm often making men's socks, and they're heavy, and it's heavier to hold on small needles, those 2 socks. So, but a lot of people really like 2 at a time. You just did a pair of men's sock on 2 at a time. But yeah.
And impatient is the proper word.
Okay. So but again, it's nice to just have, a little something you can tuck in your purse. And while I'm in here, another really nice thing to have. I love this tool above almost any other. See that? It is
Close up.
It's called a handy tool.
Got it.
And what it is, all you crocheters will look at it and see what looks like a crochet hook, but it's got a knitting needle thing at the other end.
Oh. Advertised on something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When I see those, if I see one at, the Joanne, which you rarely do, but every once in a while you do, I always snap it up.
Could you just pass it?
Yeah, I'll pass it.
Because you can,
And because it's very small, that's why it's particularly useful for socks. Because that yarn is fine, and being able to point that needle end in and hook out your drop stitch. Because yes, I do drop stitches like we all do pretty regularly. It's just when you're doing something with fine yarn on fine needles to drop a stitch is like, oh my god. Yeah.
I
So-
saw something that I thought you were talking when you said it was a needle on the end.
Yeah.
Where I saw was a crochet hook on one end, and the other end had an eye in it like a needle.
Oh, that was on that
Sewing.
nooking thing. Yeah.
Are you showing us that?
The nooking video that I sent.
Oh, that's what it was, okay. Yeah.
We can talk about that later.
That's
Yeah.
what I
It was
thought that
just
was.
a-
I'm like, oh, I see what you mean.
So,
Yeah.
It was just a gee whiz.
you know, I think if I were gonna make a recommendation of where you start with your first sock, it would be with something that has some pattern in it. Partly because it's more fun, and I find it keeps me motivated because I want to figure out where the pattern is. I think, oh, I'm gonna keep going till I get to the next round of that pattern, which might be another 3 or 4 inches, but.
How do you know it's a pattern?
Well, because you can see the changes in colors. But the reason it has that kind of fair isle quality is when you see those little bits. So you see some things that are longer
Yeah.
things of color, but every once in a while you see those littler, shorter things.
Yeah.
That's what makes those patterns. And sometimes they'll show you on the band. They don't always, but sometimes they will.
Got
But
it.
it's those little
Flicks.
flicks. And I brought that one and I brought this one. If you want a tough sock that you could give to your kids to throw in the washer, I would suggest Regia. It's tough as nails. They almost always put a nice picture on the on the band so you can see what your sock is supposed to look like.
Who
It
makes
won't.
it? Or where do
It's
you
a
get
German company.
it? Oh, so where do you get it around here? You have to order it?
Gosh, Michael.
Webb's?
Yes, Webb's carries it.
Oh, okay.
I think I almost more often find it online.
Okay.
And you know, I mean, the world is full of opportunities to get cheap goods. But I like secondhand things.
Yeah.
So I'll look in secondhand shops. I'll
Yeah.
look in eBay. Although eBay is kind of expensive with shipping, but yeah. So, you know, again, there's you look at this, you see, oh yeah, it has those little things in it, and never mind a picture. So you know it's going to be a little more interesting dog.
Huh.
And this one, again, I think it's a 75-25, yeah, wool poly. It's a wool sock. It's plenty warm. But it's it's tougher. It doesn't shrink as much. So I like those. I like that one. Oops. And the reason I brought these socks is because actually this is also made with Regia. So you can see they're soft enough. I mean, not obviously the same kind of Fair Isle thing. And also, again, I put some into this one. I made no effort to match colors. They were too every which way. But I did put some, you know, lacy stuff.
It's pretty, very pretty.
So, because they're springy. But if you wanted to see what the yarn feels like and what kind of yarn,
Okay.
that's in here.
I made one pair of socks in my entire life. It
Uh-huh.
was a kit,
Mm.
and it had different colors, no pattern, but striping or whatever. I never made another pair.
Did you have to keep changing colors?
No.
Oh, it was in the yarn.
Self-striping. It was totally shapeless, and I did not like working on double-pointed needles,
Ugh, I don't either.
so I never made another pair of socks. And I'm like,
Well, I'm going to show you how.
people I
so-
could make them for.
Yes, and then the last thing, and here are just kind of two other brands. I mean, Cascade is an American company, so I like Cascade.
Heritage.
And it's heritage, but notice there's two kinds here. They're both heritage prints, and prints is their code word for that, you know, kind of Fair Isle-y looking
Yeah.
outcome. The different colors, but also notice they're different weights.
Oh.
So this is heritage prints. Oh, and the blend is with nylon. That's the other thing. And this one is Heritage 150, which is basically a DK weight. So
But
this
that
is,
one's finer.
this one's finer. It will make, again, if you're looking for a fine sock to wear in nice shoes, this might be a better choice, but it's going to take you longer. It's going to be harder. You're going to do it on smaller needles.
Yeah.
If you're looking for something to give your teenage son, this is.
But don't you have to, the pattern that you're using,
I don't use pattern.
you don't use pattern.
Oh, I probably should.
But what if somebody's the
Yeah.
new person
Then
making
you
socks?
have to. Yeah, I don't let people pick what they're getting. That's my other trick about
Oh.
gifting
Okay.
and charity. I do a lot of charity. Yeah, not letting people pick. It's a good, you get to pick your socks. Other people don't, with the possible exception of my husband. He's been known to be allowed to pick. And then sometimes you want things that are just, just a single color, because you want to do a lot of fancy work. Like that. Again, gonna take you a long time, but sometimes that's what you want.
Yeah.
And I have a particular outfit I like these socks with.
And
So-
you could put those in your purse.
I could
Work
put
on 'em.
the third
You know,
one went in my
sock?
purse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good, yeah.
So,
That's
and this is the yarn, I just stuck a thing of the yarn in a different color that I made up. And again, you'll see it's pretty fine.
Yeah.
And I did it on, I think I did it on ones, yep, I did it on ones. So, but again, so part of what I want to communicate is there's lots of choices, and that's going to affect your experience, and it's going to affect your outcome. So, let me just, so I did make, I only made 5, oops. I'll make more of the fishlets kits later. But I did make a thing, a little handout that people can grab or copy, and I'll just send my PDF to Gail to send to you guys. That I'm going to call Beginning Sock Construction. And I'll just it suggests that we practice and learn to do these on much bigger yarn. I don't want you horsing around, not being able to see what you're doing. I didn't know how good the light was going to be.
Do these lights get brighter?
Yeah. The philosophies. So, I mean, gosh, you all wear socks,
That's pretty.
I know, I love crazy. Obviously toe, foot, heel, leg, cuff. Those are the terms people use. The 2 primary ways to make socks is the classic way, which is probably what your kid said. It's from the top down. And if you're using double point, if you're using double points, I wouldn't do it any other way other than top down. The more modern way to make it is toe up. So what you do is you cast on the toe, work the foot, then work the heel, work the leg, and then do the cuff and bind off. That makes sock making much more pleasant in my view. There's a few things I like better about toe up. One is that you, if you don't know that you have, whether or not you have enough yarn, you can go as far as you have yarn.
Yeah, right.
People have been known to make anklets.
I was gonna say, or
Yeah,
those
with
little
gift yarn.
goodies.
With little, yes, exactly. You go as far as you can. I mean, you were trying to make knee socks, right, recently, and didn't get all the way to the knee, but you got a lot farther than you would have if you'd had to guess from the. Whereas, so that's one. The second is when you're doing it top down, you have to. Either way, I mean, the toe has to be closed. Right. Mm-hmm. And that means you got a Kirshner stitch. Anybody like? Is there anybody here that likes?
Well, you know I do.
I've
Yes.
never done it, so I can't.
I did it
comment.
once, and I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I guess it's not the end of the world. But it also limits where you stop it. You can't just make the foot longer. You're going to give it away to somebody you don't know. So that's another piece of the reason
So
I
you
like it.
teach the foot up.
I teach toe up.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never taught a toe. I teach neuroscience. I'm doing my best here with me.
I'd say you're doing great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Great job. And we appreciate all this variety you brought to show
Well,
us.
it's kind of fun. You raid the sock drawer.
Yeah.
Right? Realized it threw a couple things in the wash I probably shouldn't have. But so the first thing with a toe up sock is you start with the cast on. And that's the trickiest part of any sock are the toe and the heel. Because that's probably the trickiest part of the medical care of your foot too.
I would agree with that.
But right. And again, you're trying to fit something to somebody. Yeah, yarn has stretch, but it's not infinite, and fine yarn like you use in a sock has less. So you kind of want to get it right. You need to be sensitive to gauge. And you might start by measuring your foot. So the two measurements you need, I don't know if I brought it. Yeah, I do. Are your circumference. So normally you would take the wide, again, I would do this with bare feet on if I wasn't in public. But is the widest part of your foot, which for most people is the ball of your foot. That's the circumference. So my circumference here is 8.5. That's what I thought. But I'm wearing a sock. So that's the circumference, and then the other is the length, and that would be from the farthest part of your toe to the end of your heel.
To how far to your heel?
Well, yeah,
The
the end of your heel.
Okay.
This is kind of, you can guess it from your shoe size. Women's shoe sizes are actually pretty accurate. Mine is 10, and I wear 10. Men's sizes are less intuitive. But again, you want to measure, and then you might want to know a few things about. And you probably already know a few things about your own feet. Like I know that I have high arches. Some people have flat feet, in which case you want a less deep heel. But those are the kind of things that
Why
look at,
does that make a difference? I mean, you're high arched.
because I need more. So I need
right.
I need the heel to go deeper into here so I can get it on. I can't.
Okay.
There are many I have trouble wearing. I love darn tough.
They're hard to
Everybody
get on.
does. They're hard to get on because they don't have a real deep
Oh.
heel. I have a couple pairs that I love because they were gifts, but they're not easy for me to wear. So that's where you start, and then again knowing your yarn, and then you want to, kind of think a little bit about planning. So again, this is much more individualized. That's why you can find plenty of patterns online. There are quite a number of books out there. I like to think about it more generically because our feet are all different. And that's the beauty of homemade socks, unless you're, again, making them for somebody you don't know. So the first thing you got to do is cast on. That's relatively hard. Somebody named Judy developed a thing called Judy's Magic Cast On. So what magic looping does is it allows you to unlike the double points are on a single circular needle, right? You need a needle that's at least 24, but better 32 inches long, because what you're going to do is you're going to knit along one side of one needle, and then you're going to turn and knit along the other side, but that means you pull one through to turn it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I probably should use one of those ones I already have, but you got to get stuff on your needles first. So Judy's Magic Cast On allows you to get onto 2 parallel needles. There's no reason you couldn't do it on double points. If you like double points for circular knitting, anybody like double? No, I see lots of heads shaking. Hate double points. Okay. I actually, in preparation for this class, I have a lot. I mostly use 8-inch double points, and I got some out and did it. It was a pain in the ass. So I'm glad nobody wants me to do it again. I mean, I taught myself how to do it, but I think the yellow will work okay.
I've got a good view here.
Okay. This is just Cascade 220. It's a classic worsted. You could use any old worsted, and I'm on 7s.
So these are going to be just samples.
These are just, so what we're going to go, let me just explain. So what I'm going to suggest we do is we're going to practice cast-ons, we're going to practice magic looping, and then if there's time, we'll practice a simple heel. And then my suggestion is you go home, but they're going to be big. They're not going to be anything you can wear. Right. And I'm going to suggest just turning a couple different heels on the same loop, because what you want to do is train yourself how to think about the various steps in the process, because then you can put them all together to make a pair of socks. I think that was my mistake when I first made socks. Is I like the teacher told me to. I just launched right into these real complex socks that were in their construction, actually, more, they were kind of like that ones with the lace in them and the fine yarn is like. So, so learning the cast on, I have to say, when I went back and re-taught myself how to do it, I did it like 8 or 10 times on bigger needles with worst weight yarn until I could kind of do it with my eyes closed. And it felt real natural. But it took a bunch of times for me to get to that point. But I'm just going to, and I'll show you now what this looks like. So what I've got is I've got a, like a 10-inch tail. And I was going to say, if you want to see it, I'm going to do it really fast first, so you can see what I'm doing. So you can't see what I'm doing. So
You do your normal
So-
long tail.
it's not a long tail. So what you're doing is this figure 8 thing.
Oh, okay.
See,
Yeah.
You're making a figure 8 around.
I'm making a figure 8.
So are you going in the middle
I'm
or are
gonna-
you going the outside?
I'm gonna do it slowly in a minute, but I want you to see that when it goes fast. I mean, I just cast on 12 stitches.
Yeah.
Boom,
You've got 6 and
6 and 6,
6 and
6 and 6,
okay,
6
yep.
and 6.
Wow.
How cool is that?
But-
That's why Judy is magic. Or as I think and I put the link to her, if you want to watch this, her do it slowly
Yeah.
in her 15-minute
Put the
video.
link in here.
Yeah, I put the link in there.
So you started with a knot.
So I'm going to take it out. I'm going to do it again.
Yep.
And now I'm going to say what I'm doing as I do it. I just wanted you to see how
Is
fast
the
it
knot
was.
in both or just on one?
Just on one. So the knot, the loop. So you're holding your needle. It's
But
just
you're
a slip knot.
holding them like,
Slip knot.
It's just a slip knot. I'm
side by side.
holding them side by side. Doesn't matter what you do with, just let that twist however it wants. I don't care.
Okay.
And then you're taking the tail in the back and the yarn going to the ball in the front. So you got your 2 fingers. Can you guys, I don't know. I'll do it multiple times.
We're not really making them, I'm just
Okay.
watching.
And then the first thing you do is take the yarn that's in the back and go around, so under and over, through in the middle, over the front needle.
Okay.
And then you take the other one.
Yeah, and then I tend to hold these with my thumb just because I do. And then you take the other one, and you come up through the middle and over the back.
So you're going the same way both times?
Yes. So that's actually the first loop, and that's the second loop. The
And
first loop and the second loop.
so are you actually, is this getting, you're using this too?
Yeah. So here's what's coming off the ball is going on the back needle, and then the one that's the tail, I don't know if you can see it,
Yeah.
is going over the first loop.
So you have to guess how long this tail
Yeah,
should
that's
be.
how
do
you-
you guess that?
I always just do it like 10 or 12 inches.
And that's enough?
Plenty. Because you're not going to, because you're not going to put that much on.
How
But you
many?
said 16.
And I
so
think
That's
again,
eight aside. No, no,
16 is like a good starting point. I'm going
that's
to,
when you said 16, that's 16 total. That's 8 on
16 per
each.
side, 32 total.
32.
Oh, okay.
So it's about half, what's going to be half the width.
Okay.
32 is kind of my working number for my size.
For
Pull your
the
thumb up for a
toe.
second. Thank you. Okay, put it back.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because I'm just confused.
Yeah.
If this is the toe, it seems like it's open.
No, it's not. Look at the bottom. You see the bottom?
Oh, that was where I was confused.
And there we go.
Oh.
Looks like a pearl stitch.
I think
looks
I'm
like
still
a-
confused.
It looks
but-
like and you know you've done it right because you see that real pretty pearl stitch at the bottom.
So where the tail, is the tail on, which
The
is-
tail is on my index finger.
I wasn't planning on staying today, so nope.
And there's videos too. So
So the tail
the
is
tail is on my index finger,
Right,
and
The other is on your
the working
thumb.
yarn is, or you
And
want
the
to
one
call
that's
it,
behind goes first.
right? Because that's where you put your
Yeah.
slip knotted one first. So that's always the first. So
It goes up and over,
up and over,
back and in.
back and in,
Okay.
under and in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I said that's the kind of thing where, yes, I make it look easy, and you're probably looking at it going, oh
I'm gonna practice it tonight.
And that's why,
I need help before I can
but
practice.
you know, practice it in front of
The video,
in front of the
yeah.
video.
When I've learned things,
But
I've
you can also
done
practice
stop
it
to
like
stop the
right
video about
now,
10
and I'll
times.
look over your shoulder.
Yeah.
So up and over. And I'm going to suggest if you're using worsted yarn, just do 10. You know, 10 per size, 10 per size, so 10 pairs, 20 stitches. Oops, sorry. And again, I think I slipped because I wasn't watching there. And again, you know you've done it right if you see those nice even pearls underneath. Perfect. It's, you know, once you get the hang of it, it is the coolest thing in the world.
I can't picture what it's gonna look like when you're done with the,
Well, I'm going to show, want me to just
Okay.
quickly show you
There's
the
some
next.
samples right over
well,
there.
I'm gonna, okay.
So, yeah, I was going to say, grab one of these. This was done that way. I mean, it's been washed.
It's
a few
seamless.
times. It's seamless.
What's this? I can vaguely.
Very
tell
vaguely, you
where
can
it
see
might
that, you can kind of see this
Yeah.
line in here, because this is the outside. So what's going to close it up? Oops. What's going to close it up is the next thing you do. So you've put some numbers that I don't know.
be. And where do you end?
Wherever you
always
want.
end in this back one?
You always end up, you do them in pairs, so you have equal numbers on both
Okay,
needles.
good.
So
Yeah.
that's why I think 16, because I think
Yeah.
in pairs. So now, and how you kind of, if you will, close it up, is that I'm going to pull this through. I'm holding the tail in the back so it doesn't slip, and I'm now going to knit this whole row. Oops, I'm sorry, I dropped that thing I was holding in the back because I'm trying to do this in a way that you can see what I'm doing. So,
You guys stay on that side and I'll be on this side then.
So
okay.
you're knitting
So
off,
I'm just going to knit this whole top row here. So I'm just going to
but
knit
how are
it.
you not losing the other ones?
Because
They're-
they're on the cable.
They're on the cable.
Oh, sorry.
See? So I'm going to, so I'm not trying not to do too many here, so it doesn't take me forever to do this. But again,
Is this the magic loop though? Because I usually
No.
do
This is
it
a
the
ma-
other way around.
well, yeah, but you have to first do it in the back like this, and then you'll turn it.
Okay.
Okay, so there you go.
My car in the hospital garage.
So there you've gone along that whole back row, right? And now you turn it, and whenever you turn it, you push one needle in. This is magic looping. You turn one needle in and pull the other one out to work with.
But you're alternating.
I'm alternating, right?
Right, and
And-
it doesn't come off.
Right, and what's holding, right, and they're both held on that needle. And then I'm going to knit this back one. I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to knit, oops, sorry, I twisted myself. You know, and again, it looks really complicated when you have never done it before.
Right.
And it's super intuitive after you've done it a half a
Right.
dozen times.
It is kind of cool to make a seamless.
So again, I'm just going to, so now once I finish this row, and again, you don't need to hold the tail anymore. The stitches are holding the tail. I'm working my way across that back set. Oops. And these are kind of big for me. I'm not used to this big a needle, I'm sorry. Okay. And this is just the tail looped over there. It's not actually on the thing. So now, again, I've got both sets here. I can let that's off that needle. But now you can see.
So now you're in the magic loop.
So now you
So you're
can
knitting
see.
2 pair.
Okay.
You're
This-
knitting a pair of socks.
No, she's
I'm
knitting
knitting one sock. I'm knitting one sock.
This is one
Oh,
sock.
one
This is one.
sock,
I'm just doing
okay.
one sock right now.
Now
You
you can
could do these two at a time.
turn it
but
over.
But you can see, and it's purled on the inside or the underside,
Yep,
and it's knit on that side.
yeah.
Pretty cool.
Isn't that's why
Okay,
that's
so how do you get to the magic loop now? Because I'm backwards.
well, you know, this is because this is such heavy yarn I'm using. I can't really do it, but now you can do it like that. You can fold it back over and do classic magic looping. And that's where you may want to go with the ones I've already started over there. So now, oops, let me find here's my, I don't want to, so I will just tell you that the other reason I like a little extra tail is because it tells me which is the beginning of the row
Yeah.
on a magic loop, which matters when you're increasing. So now, this is classic magic looping. Although again, this is such heavy yarn, I'm having a little trouble holding it in the position. Where you go, you knit across. And again, you know, if you're just messing around, just do 8 or 10 stitches. You don't, it's the process you want to get used to.
Wow.
But it's,
I can see it.
Okay, I'm gonna